Hello, welcome along to Sportsbet TV. This is Paul Alster here, back with you for a look ahead to the Day 4 contenders at Royal Ascot 2021 for Friday's action, which of course is going to be on the 18th of June. Well, we're looking forward to more excellent racing. We're slightly in the dark as to exactly what the ground is going to be, but as of Thursday lunchtime, when I'm recording this bulletin, the expected overnight rain Wednesday into Thursday hasn't overly materialized from the reports I'm seeing. I'm nowhere near Royal Ascot racecourse, but there's been no going change. So it looks like at this point the track has avoided the deluges that were forecast in some parts, but they may yet come and things may change. So do bear this in mind. If you are new to joining us here at Sportsbet, then please press the subscribe button just below this screen. Then you won't miss any of my bulletins. And you'll find that if you start to follow me regularly, I'm looking for big prices most of the time, good value each way selections. And I'm delighted to say that over the course of the last season, the best part of a year, actually flattened jumps, I've shown some tremendous profits. Now, I have 4 recommendations for you for Day 4 at Royal Ascot. But before I go to that, I just want to go back to Day 2 on Wednesday and just review what happened there, because there's quite a lot of bits and pieces to just get into. First of all, our selections. Well, we had in the Queen Mary Illustrating, who ran a good race to be 7th of 21. And although I wasn't able to get a bookmaker that paid 7 places, I read in the comments that 1 or 2 of you did. So I'm really pleased about that. And you managed to just get a sneaky each way hit there. Now, the first frustration of the day was in the Queen's Vase. I tipped Kyprios for the Aidan O'Brien yard at 14 to 1. And it was the subject of a massive gamble. And as they were preparing to go into the stalls, the horse was all the way down to 9 to 2. But unfortunately, as I'm sure many of you will know, the horse was withdrawn at the start. It didn't go in. So nothing worse than holding a 14 to 1 voucher about a 9 to 2 shot and it doesn't run. I'm convinced it would have run very well, but of course you will get your money back if you back Kyprios. Then we had 2 each way shots in the Royal Hunt Cup. Most firms paying 6 places on this. At the time I recorded it, they were 5, but most of them went up to at least 6. And I'm happy to say that Noel Meads Lafayette ran a cracker on the stand side to finish 5th, beating our far side runner Beat Le Bon by a short head, and both of them placing for most bets at 20 to 1 and 28 to 1 each way respectively, which gave us a very, very healthy profit going into the final race. Now, the final race on Wednesday was the Kensington Palace handicap, and I tipped Stunning Beauty at 9 to 1. She was the subject of good support, and I was particularly confident she was going to run well because, of course, she beat Le Bon, who had run so well in the Royal Hunt Cup just an hour earlier. Well, if you don't already know, or if you didn't see it, then Stunning Beauty went into the stalls, one of the last to load. She had the Monty Roberts blanket on, and she was hooded. And Sylvester de Souza was calling out to the starter not to let them go until the blanket had been taken away. But the starter just let them go. And of course, she was standing there with the hood still on and the blanket on, and she just never jumped out. So this was hugely annoying. I expected the horse to be declared a non-runner because of a starter error. But I'm afraid that after a lot of deliberation, the officials decided it was a runner. How a horse can be a runner that didn't run, I don't know. Obviously, the rules are there. And I was very interested to read in the report that they said they could only disqualify the horse as a non-runner if it had been prevented from starting due to a faulty action of the stalls, or if the horse was riderless at the time the start was affected. But what isn't included in the rule is if the starter makes a cock-up of it all, which is undoubtedly what happened. So it's a case of the old boys' brigade all protecting each other. Now, Sylvester de Souza, the jockey and former champion, was really furious. He went on television and said it was an absolute disgrace. And I know lots of punters in various forums and online and social media have also been very angry. Now, Sylvester de Souza, who you'll see pictured here, He was right to be angry because he was telling the starter he wasn't ready, and it's the starter's job not to let the horses go until the stalls team are clear and the jockeys are ready, and that is for sure. Now, I'm very pleased to say that some firms, the likes of Ladbrokes and Corals and one or two others, they refunded stakes. But I'm sorry to say that the firm that I bet with, I'm not going to go into who it was, but they did not refund the stakes, which is very annoying. And I'm really interested to know what your firm did. And you can mention in the comments section under this video, did your firm refund, or did they declare it a runner, as did the Jockey Club rules? To be honest, a case of the Jockey Club and the racing industry shooting itself in the foot. It's not just a case of sour grapes and losing money. This is really bad form to do something like this. So I'm afraid that we have a situation that hopefully won't be revisited again anytime soon. Well, I'm going to move on and take you to our day 4 selections and take you first to the Commonwealth Cup, which is on Friday at 3:40. This, of course, a tremendous 6 furlong race for 3-year-olds only. The going we're anticipating is going to be good. There may be some rain around just to take the sting out of the ground by Friday. Then again, there might not. So Campanelli, a very, very interesting runner on its first run of the season for Wesley Ward, a really outstanding horse last year. And it wouldn't surprise me if it were to go very well again. Remember, it ended last term, finishing 4th in the Breeders' Cup. But it's not the only star turn on show. We have an unbeaten horse from France coming over called Sowesa, who's been tremendously impressive, but most of its form is on soft ground. If it rains, then Sowesa would certainly be one to keep in mind. Dragon Symbol is very unlucky not to be beaten in 5. It was beaten just a nose at Haydock last time out in a Group 2 on heavy ground. It will probably be better suited by a decent surface and is still open to further improvement. Clive Cox, a trainer who excels with sprinters, has Supremacy, a Group 1 winner last season, and also Diligent Harry, who's been highly progressive on the all-weather. And the Irish are coming over in numbers as well for this. They've got A Case of You, who I was tempted to consider seriously here for Ado McGuinness, Miss Amulet, and Laws of Indices. But in the end, I've come down on the side of Sacred, who's trained by William Haggis and is the mount of Tom Marquand. Now, this one stayed on really well last year in the Queen Mary to finish 2nd to Campanelli. It then went on to be 2nd in the Lowther Stakes, a Group 2 at York, behind Miss Amulet, and was also 2nd in the Flying Childers Stakes back over the minimum trip of 5 furlongs at Doncaster. It then ran poorly in the Cheveley Park Stakes at the end of the season, but I think you'd have to say after 5 or 6 very fast, very quick races in succession, it was probably a touch over the top. Now, in 2021, Sacred has already won the Group 3 Nell Gwyn Stakes, beating Saffron Beach, who went on to finish 2nd in the 1,000 guineas. So no doubt it's trained on. It went on to run in the 1,000 guineas, and I thought it was coming there to put in a really big effort, coming up out of the dip at just over a furlong out, but clearly the stamina run out, and it just didn't get home. So I'm pleased to see that Sacred is coming back to the very, very tough uphill 6 furlongs here at Ascot, and I'm expecting her to finish really well under Tom Marquand and make a very big race of it with some of the market principles. I'm very surprised to see that at the time of this recording, she is available in a couple of places at 22 to 1 and betting each way with a number of firms offering 5 places. Sky Bet will probably go 6. Then certainly a very, very interesting contender, Sacred. And remember, as always, shop around, look for those firms that are offering either the best odds, if that's what you prefer, or the better place terms, or those that are prepared to give you the best odds guaranteed if the starting price is bigger than the price you take. So really do have a good look around for who you're going to spend your money with. So that's Sacred, my first recommendation at Friday in the 3:40, the Commonwealth Cup. And then the following race is the 4:20, the Group 1 Coronation Stakes for 3-year-old fillies over a mile. And again, a very high-class renewal. It's been won by some great fillies over the years. And this year, We've got the Irish 1,000 guineas winner, Empress Josephine, and the British 1,000 guineas winner, Mother Earth, both trained by Aidan O'Brien, taking each other on. And that's two really quality fillies. Against them is Joseph O'Brien's Pretty Gorgeous, who was a very smart 2-year-old who won the Group 1 Fillies Mile at Newmarket. She looked as though she needed her reappearance when 7th in the Irish 1,000 guineas, and I expect her to do very much better this time. So the Irish with a really strong hand in the Coronation Stakes. What about the home team, though? Well, alcohol-free for Andrew Balding, who was the Cheveley Park winner last season, has already run well in the Fred Darling Stakes on its reappearance, winning there and then finishing 5th in the Guineas. We've got Primo Baccio for Ed Walker, who easily beat Snow Lantern in a good listed race at York. Snow Lantern set to reoppose. And there's Feb Rover, who did great things for us to stay on and take 3rd in the 1,000 guineas at big odds. She disappointed in the very heavy ground in Ireland, but I think more than the ground, the race might have come just a bit quick for her. A fascinating runner is the unbeaten Michael Stout trained Potapova, who's had 2 runs and was a runaway winner of a very ordinary race at Redcar. She's beautifully bred. Her granddam, Russian Rhythm, actually won this race back in 2003, so she's bred for this type of a race. It is, though, a huge step up from a novice stakes at Redcar to a Group 1 at Royal Ascot. But Sir Michael Stout, the winning most trainer in Royal Ascot history, knows what it takes to win a race like this. So I really respect Potapova. But in the end, I've just gone against her. And I'm throwing one in here, a bit from left field here, in the German challenger called November, who's trained by Peter Schiergen, one of Germany's great trainers, and is ridden by David Egan. Now, November might be German, but she's by Glen Eagles, of course, who was a hugely successful miler trained by Aidan O'Brien not so very long ago. She was a very useful 2-year-old in Germany, winning over 7 furlongs, and she was 2nd in a Group 3 at one of the world's most beautiful racecourses at Baden-Baden in October. Now, she reappeared at Dusseldorf racecourse, finishing 4th, only beaten 2 lengths in a listed race. But the revelation was last time, where she stepped up to Group 2 company, taking the German 1,000 guineas, and she absolutely pulverized her rivals. Admittedly, it was on softish ground, and the ground might be quicker at Ascot on Friday. We still don't know at the time of this recording on Thursday what the ground's going to be, but she is obviously a horse with a great deal of ability. Now, you may or may not know the German trainer Peter Schiergen, but believe me, he is a world-class trainer, and you only have to look at his success rate with the runners he sends, first of all, to Britain. He's not had many runners in Britain over the years, but he's won the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, remember, with Dane Dream. And he also won the Ark with the same filly. And both of them were very good odds, both times that Dane Dream won. So his horses tend to go unconsidered by the British bookmakers. And I think that the 14-1 that's on offer each way at the time of this recording for 5 places with Sky Bet is a very, very good value bet. And I'd say even more so if there's any rain between now and the start at 4:20. So for me, I'm tipping a win for Germany, November, to take the Coronation Stakes at 4:20 on Friday. Now, the race after that, the 5 o'clock race on Friday, is the Sandringham Handicap for 3-year-old fillies. And now this is a cavalry charge over the mile. There are 30 runners, and you'll be very relieved, I'm sure, to know that I'm not going to go through all of them. Indeed, I'm only going to mention one horse to you, and that is Samut, who's trained by Sir Michael Stout and is the mount of Jim Crowley. Well, why Samut? Well, first of all, it's probably got as good a chance as any. Last time I looked, they're betting 12-1 the field with some firms, so it really is a bit of a lottery. Now, Samut is a well-bred filly. She was 3rd on both starts as a 2-year-old over 6 and 7 furlongs, showing signs of quite a lot of ability. Then she won on her 3-year-old debut at Wolverhampton on the all-weather track in April, taking a 7-furlong novice stakes. And then on her handicap debut down at Salisbury, she won very nicely indeed. She was very green, though, still surprisingly, even though it was only her 4th run. But once she was shaken up, she really did show a change of gear. and stayed on strongly to score off a mark of 80. Now, on the basis of that, she went back to Wolverhampton for a pretty hot handicap. She was, I think, an even money favourite, but she got a really bad run round. She was always being forced out wides on the bends, and in the end, she finished fifth to Gleesker Girl, who is set to reoppose. But ignore that, because Jim Crowley just did not persevere. I think he got a bit cheesed up with it all, actually, because he could never get the filly into the race from literally running out by the car park. So ignore her last run. And this beautifully bred daughter of Dubawi, whose dam was a Group 3 winner, I think has got the potential to run a massive race here. Now, she's drawn in stall 11, pretty much towards the centre. So her jockey will be able to follow the pace either down the centre or towards the far side. I'm sure that most respectable bookmakers are going to be paying at least 6 places. Skybet, I'm sure, will probably go 7, although check the odds that they're offering there. And at the time of this recording, 6 to 1 is about 16 to 1 rather, 1-6, 16 to 1, available with all firms. But it would not surprise me at all to see some of them go bigger and looking to get some business at 20 to 1, who knows, maybe even a little bit more. So the 5 o'clock race, Friday, the Sandringham Handicap, each way, Samut for Sir Michael Stout and Jim Crowley. And then just one more for you, for those of you that like 4 selections for your Yankees or Lucky 15s. The Palace of Holyrood House Handicap. It's not the most memorable name. It's one of these new races they've added in at Royal Ascot. And this is a 5 furlong handicap for 3-year-olds only, due off at 6:10. And if you think the Sandringham's a lottery, well, this one, a mad dash down the straight course. Again, I'm not going to go through them all. I've had a really long look at this race, and eventually I've come down on the side of a horse that's a big price. The name is Caroline Dale, and she is trained by David Lochman down there in Shropshire, and is the mount of one of my favourite jockeys, Pat Cosgrave, who I think on this picture that you'll see here is in the colours of a horse called Belgian Bill, who won the Royal Hunt for a very good friend of mine, George Baker, the trainer George Baker, way back about 8, 9, 10 years ago. Probably my biggest ever win at Royal Ascot. So I'm always glad to see Pat Cosgrave in those pale colours. Now, David Lochman is a trainer who's doing really well. And of course, on Wednesday, he really hit the big time, sending out the first and the second in the Kensington Palace Handicap. That was with Lola Showgirl and Fion. So this up-and-coming young trainer really doing well. And on Thursday, which will come shortly after I've recorded this bulletin, he's got a good 2-year-old called Go Bears Go running in the Norfolk Stakes. Well, this Caroline Dale is a really nice sort. She had 5 runs as a 2-year-old. She was beaten a half a length on her debut at Lingfield last June, just caught close home there. And then she ran in the Queen Mary Stakes. She was 100 to 1, and she ran a brilliant race to be third to Campanelli, and she was staying on really well. Then she won a 5 furlong Windsor Novice Stakes, as you would expect, having gone so well at Royal Ascot. She was third back at Ascot, a course she really seems to like. Do note that. She was third in the Group 3 Princess Margaret Stakes over 6 furlongs, looking as if she was coming to win her race before she ran out of puff in the closing stages. That was a race won by her stable companion, Santosha. David Lochman doing really well at the big meetings. She was a solid third after that in a listed race at Newbury, and then she was rested. And I just think she's really interesting. First time in a handicap. She's got a mark of 95, and the yards already had a 1-2 at the meeting this week. On offer at 33 to 1 each way, the best price I've seen on Thursday lunchtime was with Bet365 for 5 places, but she may well go bigger, and I'm sure you'll find firms, and I'll be looking out to bet for 6 places there in that Holyrood House Handicap, the last race on day 4 on Friday. So Caroline Dale at a big price, the last of my 4 selections. Let's hope she and the other 3 all run well, that they all go into the stalls and they all come back out again. Something that didn't happen a couple of times for us one way or another on Wednesday. So I wish you the best of luck, whether or not you choose to go with these or go with your own selections, or maybe just perm a couple of them and throw in a through of your own as well. I'll be back with the final bulletin of the week for Royal Ascot Saturday. It will be up and online on YouTube Friday afternoon. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, for today, I'm going to sign off. Fingers crossed for day 4, and I hope that all your horses run really well. Bye-bye for now.